Welcome to Operation Freedom, a cable TV program focused on the American veteran and their stories. I'm your host, Bradshaw. Sponsors are Freedom Museum, VFW Post 7589, and Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 617. We appreciate their support. Today our guest is Steve Meade. Steve was born in Jenkins, Kentucky, and raised much of his later life in Virginia, which we'll talk about. He was born in the coal mining area. His grandfather was a coal miner. He's married to Brenda. He's been married 33 years. They have 2 daughters. One daughter has boys, another daughter has 3 sons. So that gives him a total of 6 grandchildren. And today we're delighted to have him here. And we'll start off with you came into service. You were in Fairfax High School, graduated in 68, and then you came into the U.S. Army, 1968. Tell us about coming in and basic training. Everybody's got a great story about basic training.
Well, I don't know about that, but at the time, your options were rather limited. You either went to college when you graduated from high school, or you hung around a little while and then got drafted. Right. So, or you enlisted. I chose the last part, where I decided to go ahead and enlist. Thought I'd try to set up a pathway for a career after the Army, if I survived. So coming from, well, I'd say a blue-collar background, but since my grandfather was a coal miner, you might say black-collar.
Right.
But I thought air conditioning, refrigeration. So that's what I thought I'd try and go into. So I enlisted on what they called a 120-day delayed enlistment program, which guaranteed that you'd get the training. Not necessarily that you would do it once you graduated from your advanced individual training, AIT, but at least I did get the training. But basic training, that was at Fort Benning, Georgia, Sand Hill. And they had a lot of sand fleas.
Well, you went through the summer, the hottest part of the year?
No. Went in during the winter.
Oh, winter, okay.
When we went the infiltration course, where they shoot the machine gun over top of your head.
Right.
When they blew the explosive charges in the pits, ice was blown up into the air.
Good grief.
And came showering down on top of us.
So it was cold, okay.
It was real cold.
You didn't sweat a lot then, except when the hammer was going off above your head there. Okay, so basic training was how long was it, 6 weeks then?
It was 8 weeks.
8 weeks, okay. And you graduated, and did you know then you were going to Vietnam?
Oh, no, you don't know that. Following basic training, you go to your advanced individual training, which was Fort Belvoir.
Oh, okay.
Fort Belvoir, when I finished there, you normally are in a holdover company following your graduation. Once you graduate from that, you're in the holdover company, you get your orders, and then you deploy to wherever. I received orders with giving me a promotion to Spec 4 at that time. I was an honor graduate out of the engineer school.
Neat.
And so I received these orders for Spec 4 and keeping me at Fort Belvoir nice and safe, becoming an instructor at the engineer school. I said, right on. I don't know who I made angry at me, but other orders came down, countermanding those, no promotion, and good morning, Vietnam. So I soon found myself in the Republic of Vietnam, and that was in 1969.
What month did you get there?
August.
August. So it's hot all the time. That's really hot then.
Real hot.
Okay. And so you were there as a combat engineer, but you were switched to specialist.
Well, in Vietnam, air conditioning refrigeration was done by contractors. Go figure. So they train you for this stuff, and
Right.
then they don't use you as it. So they put me where they thought they could utilize me, and wound up in the S2 unit of the engineer outfit, which was the intelligence unit, which is kind of an oxymoron with
Right.
military. but
Yeah.
but I had to help set up convoys for resupply and things like that. And I guess as a means to make sure I did a good job, I had to accompany the convoys.
You had to make runs on it. Oh, that's interesting. Well, come back when you landed. Tell them about your first night. You were Cameron Bay. You're Cameron Air Force Base.
Went in country at Cameron Air Force Base, and got there at dark 30 in the morning. They bussed us over to the replacement battalion there at Cameron. Very hot that day. That night, we started hearing small arms fire, and then we heard some explosions. And then they had the alarm to everybody go to the bunker. Well, I didn't know what was going on. I was brand new, and I was the last one to get to the bunker. So I was half hanging outside, and while at the replacement battalion, nobody has a weapon.
Right.
So I'm hearing all these small arms fire, somebody shooting at somebody, and I'm hearing these explosions going off, and I don't have a weapon. And if anybody comes to the bunker, the first person they see is going to be me. So I'm kind of nervous.
Now, it's so packed you can't even get down in there. It's just absolutely
it was
packed.
jam-packed.
Okay.
Everybody got real friendly in there, I think.
Jeez.
But they didn't have that many bunkers at the replacement battalion for some odd reason. But so since I was kind of hung out to dry there outside of the bunker, I was looking around, and I noticed these 3 red lines coming down from the sky. It was real pretty. Yeah, I'd never seen anything like that. 3 solid lines just coming down. And then the closer they got to the ground, I saw, hey, wait a minute, there's a little bit of separation there. Not much, but a little bit. And then they got even closer, and they started tearing up the hillside just up from where I was. And I realized all of a sudden that, hey, those are tracers. And then I heard the sound from the miniguns from the airplane.
Right.
It made this big type sound. And,
Good influence.
And it's awesome. And I'd never seen anything or
Which
heard anything
gunship
like
was that? Which gunship was that?
I have no idea, but it was 3 miniguns mounted on a side.
What year was it?
That was 69.
That could have been C-47. No, it sounded more like the AC-130 gunship, which I flew, because 69 was their first year over there. It's a big plane. You didn't see the plane, but that's a 4-engine.
Because it was nighttime.
Yeah.
And all I knew is, those are pretty red lights coming down.
Yeah.
And then...
What kind of ammunition were they firing? Could you tell what they were firing?
I think it was the 7.62.
Okay.
I think.
Well, they had those on the early version in 20 millimeter, and then they pull those out because they went up higher elevation. So, yeah, it could have been an AC-130 gunship. But that's a very interesting introduction, your first night to see that. And if you got to be stuck out, you might as well be watching the action.
Have an entertaining show.
I bet. So you stayed there a couple of days. Now you had to go to your permanent. Where was your permanent base?
Down in the middle of the Mekong Delta. From Cameron Bay, they flew me down to Saigon to the 90th replacement there at Long Binh, and I was there for a couple of days. And then they flew me down to Ben Tui to the 34th Engineer Group, and then they decided to send me over to headquarters company of 69th Engineer Battalion.
All in Ben Tui?
That was at Canto Army Airfield.
Okay. You saw those. I just pick them up as you're saying them. So did you stay there the time frame?
That was primary place, but like I said, since I had to accompany a lot of the convoys, Not only resupply from Saigon, but when we resupplied our outlying job sites throughout the Delta, or when we initially went out to one of the new job sites in the Delta, we had 2 truck suppliers out there.
Right.
And unfortunately, shortly before I went in country, the 9th Infantry Division, which had been in the Delta, was withdrawn and relocated somewhere else. So that left the engineers to do their own sweeps and set up their own perimeters and do everything themselves. Didn't have the training for that, but we learned.
You learn real fast in those conditions, I take it. Okay. Now, I'm fascinated with this gun jeep you had to ride on. Explain the gun jeep to the folks.
The gun jeep has this steel vertical shaft that you mount a M60 machine gun on. And it had a bin to one side that would contain the belt of ammunition, or multiple belts of ammunition.
Right.
And so you had a 360-degree swivel capability around that. And had a, what they called a PRC 25 radio that was mounted on the right rear side of the Jeep.
So you have to haul on your back.
Rather than carrying it, but
sure.
it was sitting on the Jeep, so mounted there. So that's what we used to communicate with the rear gun Jeep and any helicopters if they were coordinated for air cover.
Did you ever run any problems on one of those, or guys usually shoot at you, but any big problems on that?
Oh yeah, we would encounter ambushes from time to time.
Yeah.
That's why I normally volunteered to be on the lead gun Jeep. At the time, they had little plastic clickers, which were very hard to detect with detectors, for when they swept the roads for mines.
Right.
And the clickers would click over so many tires hitting it.
Right.
And during an ambush, the enemy sets up what they call a kill zone, where normally the important stuff on a convoy is in the center of the convoy.
Right.
So would set it to go off after so many clicks. Sometimes we would get RPG shot at us. They would go after the oxygen tanks, acetylene tanks. All the important stuff in the center, like those tanks, heavy equipment, the beer, and stuff like that.
So you you kind of rode. You were the machine gunner. You ride as a machine gunner.
Machine gunner.
At least you can shoot back.
Yep.
Okay. Now you also got a little tour into Cambodia in May of '70. Tell us about that. How big a big operation was that?
That was a very big operation. Our unit went in and we helped build this airfield at a place called Svay Rieng. And didn't get much sleep. There was a lot of shooting going on. And I was very tired.
Gee. How long were you in Cambodia?
I wasn't there that long. I was fortunate enough to be yanked out of there to go on R&R.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting real close to my time to return home.
Oh, yeah.
I had arrived in country in August, and this was May, and I hadn't gone on R&R yet, so...
You want to get that in, yeah.
I wanted to get it in.
Where'd you go?
Australia, Sydney.
I did, too.
Loved it there.
That's a great place, except a long flight. Remember that 15-hour flight?
Yeah, and then you land in Darwin, and they crack the doors open, and the guys come in wearing the mask, and on our flight anyway, and they had twin aerosol cans in both hands, spraying to, I guess, delousing.
Yeah. They will make sure that you didn't bring anything in. Yeah, that was a very fine. I chose that, and I agree with you. That was a very interesting place to go into.
Very friendly people.
Yes, very, very nice. Let's see. you talk about and where your base was, you were constantly on attack. That's another thing fascinating. Just
not constantly, but we would get probed. It just happened that during the Christmas season, we got probed almost every night.
Jeez.
And anywhere from 3 to 8, I think it was 8, man units of the enemy were doing the probing.
Right.
They were sappers with explosive charges on their backs, trying to infiltrate through.
Huh.
And we had starlight scopes, which back in those days, not like today's little small things that they mount on the helmets.
Oh yeah.
These things were huge.
Well, they're meant for on a platform, not on a human. Right. But you could see. Did it help you out?
Yeah, it was like a big telescope, but you could at least see the movement.
Okay. So that was good. You should have gotten a combat ribbon out of that. In other words, expeditionary. I was in one involved, and we call it Lamson. For some reason, I think it had a number 719 or something like that. So you were in a Lamson operation. That means going into Cambodia. So you left. You finally got out in August. So you did a 12-month tour then.
12 months. And 2 days.
2 days. Okay. So you headed out. And there was something after you left. What happened?
Well, it was interesting. The day I left my unit, I was at the airfield, and as the plane taxied to a halt, and the gate came down, the replacements came down off the plane, so to make room for us to get on board.
Get on, yeah.
So all the replacements disembarked and passed us. So they were going to wherever we had come from. Then we got on the plane and flew up to Saigon.
Right.
Well, I said the 2 days, it was very unfortunate. There were 219 of us manifested to take a flight from Saigon to the States. We were at the Saigon airport when they told us to go back to the bus, and we were a little upset.
Sure.
And we wanted to know why. The people out on they said, the plane out there on the tarmac, see that the ARVN soldiers are boarding?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, that's your plane. And there's something called Vietnamization.
Right.
And so they're taking your flight. And I don't know whether somebody was just lazy. They didn't want to change the manifest for 219 soldiers. But we had to wait for that exact aircraft to fly all the way stateside, disembark those ARVNs, load up replacement troops coming back, and then we were able to board it and go home. But during that 2 days, I was able to get to a Class A phone and called some friends of mine that were in the commo section of our unit.
Right.
And I said, "Man, you're the luckiest SOB that I know." I said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you know, the day you left." I said, "Yeah. A newbie got your bunk and your hooch." I said, "Yeah, so?" Mortar round, direct hit on the bunk.
Good grief.
Killed him.
That's just, ooh.
So if I'd been 18 hours later, I'd be 6 feet under.
Living right. Good grief. So you headed on home, and you got back to, what, you went back to the Pentagon, or what?
No, I was on leave, and I'd heard a rumor before I left that the unit I was reporting to was going to be deployed to Vietnam. And
no good.
I thought that was grossly unjust. So, with my parents living in Fairfax, Virginia, I was lucky to be able to go over to the Pentagon, to Army personnel, and pursue the matter a little bit to see if, in fact, there was any truth to the rumor. Well, there was. And so I said, what can I do? I don't want to go back.
Sure.
So it had to be something higher priority. Well,
Yeah.
there's not too much that had a higher priority than Vietnam back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
One of the exceptions was there was a severe shortage of drill sergeants. Somebody had told me I might possibly be a drill sergeant at some point in time.
Yeah.
I would have told them where they could go. But, weighing the balance between, another tour in Vietnam,
Right.
drill sergeant. I can act.
Sure.
So I said, well, sign me up. So I volunteered to go to the NCO Academy and Drill Sergeant School there. It wound up being Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. Okay. Where the money is.
Where the money is.
Okay.
The bullion.
So did you finish your career out at Fort Knox?
Yeah.
Okay. And you got out after how much time of service?
2 years, 9 months, 1 day.
Gee.
I got out as a Sergeant E5.
Very good. So you got out, and then you were looking to come into the work world, and you came in, got tied in with the Air Force.
Yeah, after a couple of years of floating around and doing some jobs here and there, I eventually hooked up with the Air Force.
Good.
And
you're with them now?
Still with them.
How many years you put in?
Almost 29.
Okay. That's
And
a civilian position, though.
Civilian position. I've been in the same exact unit. The unit's name has changed numerous times.
But you stay right there.
When I first started there, it was Air Force Data Services Center.
Uh-huh.
And that was a long time ago. But I haven't moved, but everything's moved around me, you might say.
Right.
I started off as a computer aide, a computer assistant. Then I became a computer programmer. And then I started playing around with job titles. Now I'm an information technologist.
Okay.
GS-12.
Information Tech GS-12. Excellent. Well, good. So you've served the country a long time with Vietnam and this and everything. Well, good. Want to talk a little bit about your latest endeavors. You're in Post 7589. I assume to be commander of Post 7589. And congratulations. I think that's a great job. I hope you do it 2 to 5 years. We know. Well, our standards is 2 years.
I know the current post commander is certainly hoping that if I don't do it for that long, at least somebody else steps up and does it for that long.
Yeah, he's served total of 8. Sam Neely, and this current one is, how long has he been in there?
He's been post commander 8 times.
8 times. Okay.
And I think this is the 5th straight year.
Straight year. Yeah, you can get a little burnt out there, I suspect.
And what makes it doubly bad on Sam is he's also wearing the hat of District 8 commander. Well, I'm also his senior vice commander.
Senior vice commander, right. Now, you're senior vice commander right now and commander-elect, which takes over on Father's Day.
Correct.
Good.
Well, I'm junior vice commander within.
Junior vice commander, okay, very good. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about the post. Now, you've been exposed to all this while. How long been in the post? For
about 3.5, 4 years,
okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's Francis Cannon Post, Memorial Post, 7589. We're located Old Town Manassas, next to the Volunteer Fire Department.
Yeah.
We have a funky little Japanese cannon out front.
Right. There's collectors try to buy it from us. We always look at it very protectively. We don't want to sell it or give it away or anything. It's there.
But it's a nice post.
Yeah.
There's no smoking. There's no canteen or anything like that.
Right.
Our goal is service. We try to help veterans. We try to help deployed servicemen and their families at home in whatever way possible. There are several programs set up within the VFW that fall under what they call MAP, Military Assistance Program. And there's a thing called Unmet Needs, which is part of that.
Right. Good. Yeah, I think the Post does a lot of wonderful things. I mean, I'm I'm a member of just like you of it, and I think they do some great work in there. And the Post has been there since, the building has been there since 50s, so that alone, and the Post is, we're celebrating.
We're celebrating our 61st anniversary this coming weekend.
Good. We're doing something right. Good. I just, we got out of the Vietnam War. I just want to ask your reflection on the Vietnam War. I didn't mean go back that just a moment.
Reflection. Well, it's it made me the person I am today. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. I certainly left a kid, came back a man. My eyes were wide open when I came back. I was rather naive when I went over.
Yeah.
Looking back, some of the things that we weren't permitted to do, which rather hamstrung some of our activities, if we were allowed to do those things, I think some aspects of it would have been more positive. But I keep hearing that, we lost the war. When I left, we were winning. We may not have been winning, but we were holding our own.
Right. Yeah.
And we didn't lose. It was after the U.S. forces were withdrawn that the North Vietnamese came down in 1975.
Yeah.
So U.S. forces were withdrawn in 1973. So contrary to what most people think, we didn't lose the war. We didn't win, but we didn't lose.
Okay. So you got some thought. Well, thank you on those thoughts. Go back to the Post again now. You got any vision of some of the things you're going to do, some new things, any programs you want to do?
One of the things I want to do is try and promote more camaraderie within the membership of the Post. We've planned a spaghetti dinner, the first one, which will be September 29th, 5 to 9, as a means of, it's going to be free for veterans.
Excellent. And their guests.
And their guests.
Good. That's a wonderful thing, and each commander brings a little different perspective, and we keep it that way. It keeps it fresh. You get new stuff and everything, and I think it's. I've served in that position, and I say I congratulate you, and I think you got a real challenge ahead of you, and you're kind of you got retirement facing you in a while here.
Very soon, I hope.
Very soon. Okay. Because you can spend 20 or 40 hours in it easily on that Post, just the work you do and everything, and all the paperwork and everything. I want you to thank you for being here today, Steve, and thank your service to America. You've not only served in combat, you've come back and served the Air Force, I'm sure you're doing some important things as an information technologist. That's computer stuff, and I'm just used to write all the time, so I know there's a lot of stuff there that I don't know about. I'm sure you. Matter of fact, the website, real quickly, we've run out of time. Got about 30 seconds. You got an excellent website.
www.vfwpost7589.org.
Say it again, real slow.
www.vfwpost7589.org.
And it tells all the events and everything, lots of information. I've watched it and come into being and everything. I'm very pleased with it. I look at lots of websites, and it's very informative, great for the eyes and everything, and easy to work around it.
Quite proud of it.
Yeah, good. You should be. You and Rick put it together, right?
Rick Raskin and I put it together, and we're quite proud of it.
Okay. Again, thank you for your service and being here today. You've been a delightful person to interview. And thank you to the visitors, the people, our people who are watching us today. This is Bradshaw with Operation Freedom. Thank you and good day.